the Airbnb story is like a fairy tale, basically, which is like, well, you have your vision of the world and you just stick with it long enough and like great things happen. I'm like, that's a great recipe for just like being broke and lonely in an apartment and like not ever building anything.
That's a fool by randomness thing. It's like that survivorship bias of, they made it, but how many people are crazy?
Great fairy tale, not a methodology.
Yeah.
And by contrast, I think what I've learned is that to pivot quickly, much more like the Codecademy guys, actually. Those guys pivoted 12 times in YC, I think. To pivot very quickly and test the value. And this works particularly well in B2B, less so in consumer. But to really test the value, you go and you try to sell it, right? You go and you try to say like, okay, what would this product be worth to you? Okay, I haven't built it yet, but like, will you sign a contract that if I deliver it, you'll pay $100,000? And like, if you can really like test that value, the process of discovery and sales qualification is effectively the same thing as testing for product market fit. So I actually think sales or very early sales on the search for product market fit are actually very tightly intertwined. And is a much more repeatable way of actually finding interesting opportunities. Xamarin, Nat Friedman, who later became CEO of GitHub,
now seems to run Silicon Valley, I guess.
Doing all kinds of things, yeah. Anyways, he was running Xamarin at the time, and they were using the product, but I don't think we're paying anything. We're paying like $200 a month or something like that. And we had just brought in the sales advisor because I was clearly struggling to close our first like enterprise contracts. And he's like, the sales advisor was like, Peter, this product is worth at least $50,000 a year. Like you have to charge for that. Probably more like $120,000 a year. So we go to he and I are walking over to the Xamarin office, and just before we get to the door, he's like, Peter, in this meeting, you have to ask for $120,000. I was like, come on, man. Like, that's crazy. They're currently paying like a minuscule fraction of that. He's like, nope, that's just what enterprise software costs. If you won't ask for it, then I quit. It's like, okay, fine. So we walk into this meeting. It goes great. Now he's really excited about it. He's like, okay, what does it cost to like get the enterprise version or whatever? And I was like, $120,000. I turned beet red. And I was so embarrassed. I was like, didn't know what to do. I was just like sat there quietly, and he's like, okay, well, how about $12,000 a year? And I was like, how about 18? He's like, okay. And like, I was in shock because the 18 was whatever that is, 150x what we had been charging before. And to him, it was 85% off. And yeah, I was just completely blown away. I was like, there's like pricing on a different dimension. Like, I don't even understand what's going on here. And what I started to learn was the difference, which sounds obvious, between value-based pricing and cost-based pricing. And we were completely in a cost-based mentality coming from open source and like our own time on these things. And, you know, what enterprises pay is based on ROI, is based on value and your demonstration of that value. And so, yeah, over time, it turns out that the product that we had was extremely valuable, and it got more and more sort of like exponentially valuable as you get into bigger and bigger companies. Because if you're even Xamarin, you have a website, a mobile app, and like a web app or something. You have a few data sources, maybe Salesforce. If you are someplace like Nike, you have like a dozen different mobile apps. You have a dozen different websites. You have point of sale systems. You have a whole bunch of different like sales and marketing tools that are all trying to get interconnected. You have support systems in different countries with like your complexity of data structure has gone completely exponential. And so the value to Nike of solving that problem is drastically higher than it is for a smaller company. And so I think in many ways, the story of Segment was slowly understanding and delivering higher value into these bigger companies and the price increasing over time to support that.